Oops. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Welcome back to Roll and Review, where we talk about all things nerdy and awesome. I'm Jim, and welcome back to our stupid simple reviews. This time, Far Cry 5. Let's start with things I like about it. All right. The world is well put together. It's beautiful. It's the graphics look good. You know, even flying high above the world in a helicopter or something like that, it still looks good. Which sometimes, because of render rates, could fail a little bit. But no, this one did actually pretty good with that. I actually appreciated the environment, and especially like the farmland in the one area, some more of the wooded areas. You know, it was kind of a cool environment, and it was very different from the environment that we've had in other games. You know, we had islands multiple times. We didn't have a repeat of the kind of South Asia, Indian type of place, which is good. It was time set in America. We could really see, you know, our own country in this, which is kind of cool. It's taking a whole kind of a different view of it. The guns, ridiculously fun. Why I need to put a suppressor on a shotgun or a suppressor on an M60, which for both those guns, I don't know how that would actually work. Especially the shotgun, because you're not even using slugs there. You're using, like, I'm assuming buckshot, because it's taking down full-grown men right away. You know, maybe I don't know guns perfectly, but I'm thinking that's gonna like blow out the end of the barrel. Putting a suppressor on that. So definitely weird, but a whole lot of fun to play with. Blowing people away out of cars and things like that with a shotgun, or, you know, just taking down helicopters by shooting out their pilots, or, you know, planes with the light machine guns. Whole lot of fun. It's fun to use the kind of encamped or in place weapons like the mortar or other heavy machine guns that are actually, you know, in places. A whole lot of fun using those, destroying a whole bunch of stuff. Like the weapons are great. Moving on though to things I didn't like. One, the story. Now, I'll grant the game this. The idea of taking down each member of the family first before going after the cult leader, fun idea. Using that to liberate the different areas. I liked it. I liked how there was a little bit different flavor between each of the family members, where you had Faith drugging you, and you had like Jason like conditioning you and preparing you to really over and over again just falling into this pattern of the same attack, and then using that to get you to kill one of your friends. Really interesting. I liked that. However, there was definitely a repetitiveness to these types of missions, especially in the way that they brought you into those, like the campaign parts, where you're being hunted, and no matter what you do, you're getting caught. Like, I mean, there were times it was just like, you're being hunted, and me and Alex were wingsuiting across the map, and all of a sudden, like, the drugs are taking effect and we're getting pulled back. It's like, well, there wasn't even anyone here. What? So it felt like forced, like you have to come even if we were in the middle of something or trying to do something else, because it's not, that progression isn't based on completing story missions. It's just based on liberating, getting enough of like a liberation score in each section. They hit certain milestones, so you could be in the middle of one mission, hit that milestone, and be ready to follow up with the next mission for a character, and all of a sudden you're pulled out of that to go do this campaign mission. That failed. And the repetitiveness of going through the bunkers for each one. Yes, there's a little bit of a difference between each one, but it's all basically the same thing. Ridiculously repetitive in that sense. Also, we just gotta talk about this. The ending is ridiculously unawarding. It wasn't pulled off well. And that's no matter what ending you choose. Obviously, if you do the joke ending, first 15 minutes of the game, you don't even arrest him in the first place, whatever. Cool. It's a kind of a throwback to 4, where if you listen to Pagan Ming and sat at the table and didn't leave, the game would be over. You'd go spread your mother's ashes. So, besides that one, there's kind of the bad ending and a relatively bad ending. There is no good ending to the game. Even the one where you think that's, yes, we're going to resist and we're going to fight and we're going to take him out, ends in shit. And not even a shit that gives you a little bit of hope, because the real ending is ridiculously disappointing. There are a million ways it could have gone better. I'm not going to tell you what happened, but there is no payoff to this. Either ending will leave you horribly disappointed and thinking, well, the other ending must be better, right? Like, this must have been the bad ending. Must have chose the wrong ending. I need to go back and do the other ending. The other ending's the good one. It was poorly executed. And just, I can't say enough about how much I disliked it, because this game, the ending disappointed me the most in a game in a long time. I bought No Man's Sky day one, and I'm more disappointed about this game than being lied to about everything about that game. I right now can't think of a game I disliked the ending more of. And if this is the end, and the good or real ending is the end, and that's really the end, thank God, because we won't have to deal with this again. I can go back and play Far Cry 3. I can go back and play Far Cry 4, and I will be happy to play those games over again. I'm not looking forward to Far Cry 6. I hope they don't make a Far Cry 6. I hope this is the end after that. I don't need another game. I'll take a Fallout. So, it was ridiculously disappointing. Along with that, though, co-op mode was, I think, a failure. And not because you couldn't play the whole thing in co-op, because you can. We did. Check out our stream of it. You'll hear all the disappointment and all the swearing. But it was buggy as hell. We were constantly having issues, either things not spawning and rendering on one person's screen. It seemed to be the second player's screen. Things seemed to spawn for me, the first player. But the second player didn't have vehicles spawning that the first player was in. So he couldn't get in the vehicle with me, even though that was our mission. There were times we couldn't complete tasks because what we were supposed to do didn't spawn for him. So, mission we're trying to basically steal a truck. We had to shoot out a guy from inside who was driving it around. I pulled up right alongside it. Alex was shooting it at other people. I couldn't figure out why, because it didn't show up on his screen. The marker for the objective did, but not the vehicle, not the person sitting in the vehicle. He couldn't do anything. At the same time, there were weird bugs where things would show up in two different places for us. So he would go to interact and he'd go flying across my screen to interact with where it was on my screen. And along with that, because the vehicles seem ridiculously slow, and they are. The vehicles are ridiculously slow. in certain points, you couldn't like effectively do the driving part without failing. And a matter of fact, at the end, we failed over and over and over again because he got too far separated from me, because the vehicle the game put him on, because he didn't get put in my vehicle, the vehicle the game put him on was slower than mine once you left the dirt road area. And so he got so far behind me that it blew us both up because he was too far away from his ally. It really made playing with another person so much harder. It really came down to the fact that we said we were going to play it together. That kept us playing together in those times. In reality, it felt like they made a single player game. They decided we're going to put multiplayer in because the co-op was popular in the last one, even though you could only do select things like liberate outposts and some side missions. But they failed to play test it. They just didn't see if it would actually work, and they just assumed it would, and so they put it out there and it didn't. And at least at this point, like almost a week and a half, coming up on 2 weeks later, it's still buggy. It hasn't been patched. We're still dealing with the same shit. So one last thing that was disappointing was the multiplayer. And I'll say this. Far Cry is not known for its multiplayer. Far Cry 4's multiplayer was disappointing. And I had hope for this multiplayer in the arcade. But when it comes down to it, it's still a really weak attempt, or in the full multiplayer, it's still a really weak attempt at doing a PvP multiplayer. The maps were kind of shit. They looked like they were thrown together by a 5-year-old, because they probably were, because they were probably user-generated. The few maps that were good in both true multiplayer and just the co-op, the good maps were the ones that Ubisoft had made. There were only like 10 of those. You can only play those so many times, especially the co-op one. All the rest of them were player created, and you had a couple decent ones that were entertaining. You had some shit ones that either were broken and things were just thrown in a way that didn't make for good level design or enjoyable playing experience. Some of them were literally get to the exit, and the exit's 5 feet ahead of you, so it was over. Or you had people who thought it would be fun to do like 250 enemies that you had to kill. You're invincible, one-shot kill, unlimited ammo, every perk you could possibly have, and any weapon or vehicle you could possibly want, except you have to do it in waves of 15, because that's as many people will spawn as the game will allow at a time. Which really came down to a long, boring, monotonous grind that sucked. The multiplayer was not a worthwhile experience. If people actually put in time to make quality levels for the arcade, I might actually like it. But the fact of the matter is, most people have made a shit level for no reason whatsoever, and it really has just bogged down that entire arcade system with a bunch of crap. And maybe you'll find one or two good levels to play. Maybe you'll find one or two enjoyable things that aren't made by Ubisoft, but you're gonna have to wade through a mountain of shit to get there. Let's end this. Let's give it our final rating. Final rating for this game, 6 out of 10. Buggy co-op, which if you're going to say you can play the whole game co-op, make sure it works right. The disappointing story and the repetitiveness of the missions, along with the disappointing ending and the disappointing multiplayer, all of those things. It was basically the main parts of the game that you want to be good ruined the game. Now, single player things work out a whole lot better, less buggy. Not no bugs, but less bugs. You can have an enjoyable time playing it for a while. Had they given us a slightly modified ending that at least gave us some satisfaction at the end and not just made us feel like shit at the end, if they had fixed or gave us a working co-op system that wasn't riddled with bugs, that broke our ability to actually do some of the missions, would be better. But the fact is, they didn't. The game is how it is, and I don't foresee it getting much better. The game ending won't change. Maybe some of the bugs will get fixed, but that's about it. So that is it. 6 out of 10. Quite disappointing for one of my favorite game series ever. So, if you like this video, hit that like button down below. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you get notified when we post new videos like this or stream. Also, don't forget to check us out on Twitch, Roll and Review on Twitch TV, because we stream things like playing this game co-op, PUBG, and a whole bunch of other things we've played, Rocket League and all that. So check us out there. Chat with us in real time. We would appreciate hearing from you guys and chatting with you in real time. If you have something you want to say, put it down in the comments down below. We will respond. We enjoy reading all your comments and responding when we get them. So please comment down below, and we'll see you next time.